and I could not care. My face is giving icky, but my brain's giving, I don't care for this. I didn't like what I was reading. Hi, welcome back to another video. I'm Kimora. Hi. If you're new here, I'm Kimora. We are still figuring out the intro. And in today's video, we're going to do every single book I've ever DNF'd. I know there's at least 20 books because the first stack has 15 in them and I didn't count the other stack. But I did a video and it should have come up at the beginning of this week where my DNF books choose my November TBR. And so I said in that video that my DNF books should be up. It wasn't. I didn't record it. I'm sick, so I'm trying to record it now so I can have it up by the end of this week, and I'm not gonna wait for me to not be sick anymore. So I might as well just jump right into it. I wanted to start off with the books that I pulled for that DNF, that TBR video, so we can get them out of the way so we can go through all the rest of them. So I picked out of a jar 5 of my DNF books, and these are them. The first book is The Half Night Stand by Christina Lauren. I'm going to try to give you a brief summary as to why I didn't want to read the book anymore. This was one of the first ever books I read. Of Christina Lauren, this was one of the first ever books that I DNF'd too. I didn't like the writing, I didn't like the length of the chapters, and I did not like the main character. Love unwritten. You will see most of these are Lauren Asher books. That is not saying that I don't like Lauren Asher. I like her writing, but the first book in the Lakefront Billionaire series, I did not like. It was too long for me. I did not care for the main character's relationship. I did not care for the plot, so I DNF'd. I'd finished that book and I decided to DNF the rest of the series. So this was this was one of the books I pulled in that video. This is one of 3, I'm just gonna spoil it, one of 3 books that I've DNF'd of Ali Hazelwood. It's been a while since I read one of her books, and I found myself not caring for the plot. I wasn't that far in it, and I just felt as though I wasn't attached to her writing style as I used to be. So I really want to give, it looks like both sides of my hair are giving 2 different vibes. It's fine. I decided that I'm going to try to give her a second shot because I think she deserves it. 3 Hours in Paris by Cara Black. I don't know if I'm saying the name of these titles. I really don't have time to read. But I remember thinking I was going to like the plot of this book only to not, and so I DNF'd it. I didn't even really read it. I skimmed the plot and I started trying to read it, but this was back when when I started reading books that had small font, and I was like, I can't do that. Obviously, I didn't even try because I didn't take the sticker off, so I hope to try to read this again this month. The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. I hope I'm saying her last name right. I got 5 chapters into this book, and I felt as though it was dragging its feet, even though it's less than the average length of a book. It's less than 300 pages. I like the plot, but I did not care for the characters per se. It was dragging its feet to get to the part of the book that I liked, and I was like the plot that the book is based off of, and I'm like, okay, get to the point, okay. And it felt like it was taking forever for me. It's a shorter book, so it feels as though like I got 50 pages in. I was like, let me just try to finish reading it. And I was like, I'm not gonna force myself to do that, because I got 50 pages in and I was reading it for 3 days. I started it on vacation and I came home and I was like, I'm gonna finish the book, and I just stared at the book all day, and the next day I decided I'm just gonna DNF this. I'm not even gonna try. I DNF Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I didn't even get halfway through the book, and I bought it because I was like, ooh, spicy, because this is one of a more spicier of her books. But then I started to read it and I was like, I'm not gonna like this, am I? So we DNF'd it, and I really have no other excuse. I did not get far. I don't even think I got through the first chapter before I decided to I got through the I'm yelling. I got through the prologue and I was like, no. So we're just gonna say that we DNF'd her. I can't judge it. I have a rule where I try to at least get 100 pages into a book before I DNF it, but with a lot of these books, I could not do that. So it was bad, and this was one of those books. And next we have the last Allie Hazelwood book I DNF'd. These were all three of the books I DNF'd from her. All were in the month. We're all in a month. All in the month of August. It wasn't a good reading month for me. But it's Problematic Summer Romance. This is the sequel to Not in Love by Allie Hazelwood book, which is one of the books I want to read this month of November. I was like, I'm going to try to read this book with no knowledge of the characters because the FMC is the sister of the MMC in Not in Love. And I was like, I don't like this. I was just like, I can't get through it. And maybe I need to reset. Maybe I was going through a book slump when I DNF'd these books, but I couldn't get through them. A lot of these books have been DNF'd recently. I'm just going to pull up the whole series. The first three books in the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher. We've got Throttled by Lauren Asher. Well, they're all by her. Collided, which is the second book, and Wrecked. I read the fourth book, and I didn't need to know. I went in not knowing any knowledge about what happened in the three previous books, and I didn't feel as though I missed anything. So I tried to read the first one, and I didn't like it, so I DNF'd it. And then I just DNF'd these two by default. I really don't want to read the rest of the series, but we are adding it to the list of books that I guess I don't have to, but I read the fourth one, so why not? Because then if I read the 1 through 3, I could reread the fourth, which I love, by the way. And then obviously we have Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. Once again, I read the first book in the Lakefront Billionaire series, didn't like it, and then decided to DNF the other two. We're getting through the stack. I'm gonna do the most recent books that I've DNF'd, which is the second and third book to the Folk of Air duo series. I don't know, which is the Wicked King and the Queen of Nothing. I think this is the second and this is the third. I did not like the first book, and I thought I was going to like it because I tend to like books that most people don't, or most people do, and so many people hyped up the first book, and I could not care. I enjoyed the plot elements, but when you make a series or a trilogy of a book, you try to make the first one as engaging as possible so people will come back for the other books. And I don't feel as though that book had an engaging plot. Like, obviously the end of the first book, if you read the series, my mouth is salivating. If you read the series, you know that it's engaging. The plot twist at the end is, but I was reading the plot twist. I don't know if it was a plot twist. I was reading the end of the first book and I was like, this still does not make me want to read the other two, which it usually would, but it didn't, which made me really sad. And so I hope to one day read the second and third book because I don't like, the plot was so crazy in the first book that I don't think I'll forget it. And I Googled what happened in the second and third book because I knew I wasn't going to read them ever again, or now if I pull them out of the jar, I have to. But yeah, we'll see. A lot of these are we'll see that I was very iffy on DNFing, mostly because they're in a series, and so if I didn't like the first book, I bought the whole series, so I might as well finish reading it. But I won't force myself to. We'll do this one next. This is Pineapple Street by Jenny Jackson. I saw this in Barnes & Noble one day about a month or two. Oh, this doesn't come out. And I was like, I'm gonna read it. And then I started reading it, and I think it's in a third person POV, but each person, it follows these women, and I think they're all related some way, somehow. And I think that I started reading it, and I'm not the biggest liker of third person, and I thought I was gonna like the plot, and I couldn't get to the plot points, and I was like, this is interesting, mostly because of the cover. But I started reading it and I'm like, oh boy, I'm not gonna like this. I remember it was one comment at the very beginning of the book. I think the characters were sitting down having dinner and I was like, huh? Not like in a confusing way. It just was like, I don't like this. I can't really give a reason as to why. I just don't. I don't feel as though I have to give a reason as to why I don't want to read a book that I've tried to read. It's my choice. But I was like, I don't really want to read this. This is just, like, my face is giving icky, but my brain's giving, I don't care for this. I didn't care for the book as I was reading it. So, that's why. Just, I hope that makes sense. I guess we'll do this one next. I've got two piles. You can't see it. Lucy Score's Story of My Life. The story of this is that this book has got tiny pages, tiny text, and a lot of pages. Which, I don't want to sound like, you know how everybody's been making fun of you know who from being like, this book has too many words in it. I suffer for boredom-itis, where I tried reading the beginning of this book, and whenever I don't like this is why I haven't gotten rid of it, because of the sprayed edges, and this is a Walmart exclusive. But whenever I don't like a book, I try to read it on the Kindle app to get as far as possible in, and I tried it with this one, and not even that worked. Something about this book I didn't like it. You ever say something and you realize that people might hate you for saying it? I'm sorry if you like this book. I thought I was gonna like it. That's why I haven't gotten any more books of Lucy Score other than the Christmas book she wrote, the Christmas Fix. I'm looking at it, it's all the way over. I don't like this. I didn't really like the Christmas Fix when I read it, so I DNF'd it, but I put it back on the TBR pile. This is not bad. I don't like this. I didn't like what I read of it. Don't shoot me! Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. Can you all guess why I DNF'd this? Great, so we don't have to talk about it. Wonderful. And we'll leave it at that. I don't want to have to explain myself to you. I didn't like what I was reading, so I DNF'd it. Move on. Remember when COVID was around? That's my favorite. Entirely went away. Remember when we were all stuck in quarantine and about a big portion of us started reading? I was one of those people, and I was one of those people who fell into the trap. This was the first ever duology that I bought, and I hated it. The Love Deception and the American Roommate Experiment. I remember the name of these. Elena Armas? At least I think that's how you say her name. Don't get me lying. But I could care less. I could care less about this. I remember starting to read it and I was like, ew. I felt my body get like a maternal ick. I felt my body getting icked out, so I DNF'd the first book, the Spanish Love Deception, and then I was like, I guess I could read this, but I don't know how these two books are connected. I don't know if they're in an interconnected world. I don't know if the characters are related, but I was like, these covers are so cute. But not even that could get me to read them. So, hopefully my taste has changed. And I can try to read these. Because you ever really want to display a really cute book, but you don't like it. So you just put it in the bookshelf. Like, that's me with these two books. I really like the cover of them, but I don't like them. And the second book just follows the theme of me not liking the first one, so I didn't read the second one. It's not its fault. I just didn't like the first one, what I read of it, because I DNF'd it. Love and Olives by Jenna Evans Welch. I read the first two books. The first one follows a girl. Her mother passes away, and she goes to Italy for the summer to be with her dad, to see if that's, like, to get to know him and stuff. Because she didn't know him her entire life. And there's like a big plot twist. And if you read that, Love and Gelato, I really like that. And then the second book follows the best friends, FNC's best friend, they're best friends. And she goes to Ireland or Scotland. I'm not quite sure. I think it's Ireland. She goes to Ireland for her aunt's wedding. I'm not quite sure. And the only reason why I'm explaining this, because I actually like the first two, so it's kind of like, why didn't you like this one? We'll get into that. I loved the first 2 books. I absolutely loved. One thing about me is if you can do a side plot well, it gives the book points. The reason why I didn't want to read this one, I like the plot of the other 2 is what I'm trying to say. I love the subplot of the brother-sister relationship and why they're fighting. And I was like, I figured it out at the beginning of the book. I was like, it has to be like, this is not really a spoiler because this is what I was guessing. Something must have happened. She must have dated like his friend and they got into a huge fight. And they're all hotheads, the whole family, so they duke it out. Like, he almost died. But, I didn't like this one. But, I read the beginning of this book, and I was like, oh my god! We're just gonna talk through it. I read the beginning of this book, and I realized that it was 500 pages. In the plot of the book, I didn't like itself. I'm not reading 500 pages of that. So we DNF'd it. I realize that a lot of people are not going to like the reasonings for why I DNF these books, but it's my reasoning. Trust and believe, I try to read these books. I did not DNF these books solely because I tried. Ooh, we'll save this pile for... Ooh, we'll do the one at the bottom. Fury by Alex Mitchell-Leeds. Mitchell-Leeds. If you know how to say his last name, please tell me. I tried to read this book twice. I like the premise of it, but I don't, for some reason, I don't vibe with this kind of writing. Like a sort of Knives Out writing. I don't know if that makes any sense, where like the person who we're watching they're kind of like talking and narrating it through. I like when it's like in a movie, but I don't like when it's in like a book, because I'm like, just show us. Stop telling me, okay? Stop telling me all of it. And so it basically was like, I like how very descriptive the book is, don't get me wrong, but it just like, I don't like that kind of premise in a book. Where did I stop reading? I think I took the bookmark out of this. I got to Act 1. I do know that for sure. But I didn't like the way the story was being told to me. I like the writing element. That doesn't make any sense. I like the way he wrote it, but I don't like how he wrote it, is basically what I'm trying to say. I liked the way he was describing things, but no. I like, how do you explain? Writing technique, whatever the word is. I don't know how to explain it. If you read the book, you know what I'm talking about, but I just don't like the way it was structured. That's a good word. I like the way he wrote it, but I don't like the structure of the book. How he described the characters was very nice, at least from what I got, because I didn't get a good way through the book, because I was like, I don't care. It didn't make me care. It's like, I love when people write books this way, but for some reason, this way, the structure of the book, I didn't like, even though I like this kind of structure, right? Like he at the beginning of the book, how far I got, he introduced the character and he's describing her and stuff, and I'm like, ooh, this is cool. But for some reason, in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't care. So I will say, I really do want to, I've tried to read this twice. I really do want to read this. So I hope I get to it. It also might be that it's a hardback. I hate reading hardbacks. So I might need the paperback version of this so I can at least attempt to give it a good... Because I hate hardbacks. I hate reading in them. I hate the way that they feel. I don't like them. So, in his defense. The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Solomon? I think. Ooh, someone gave me a notification. Anyways. I liked Business or Pleasure. I gave it a good 3 stars. But even though I liked the premise of this book, I didn't like what I was reading, which I think is a theme for these. Yeah, I didn't care for what I was reading. And I guess because I DNF. Ooh, I also DNF First Time Caller. Hold on, let me grab that. I didn't grab that book. That was a book that I also DNF. I think that's all. I don't think... Okay, we'll talk about it. I didn't like First Time Caller either by B.K. Borson. I don't think I like this aspect of a book. They're both giving sort of Sleepless in Seattle with the radio talk host element alone, but for the life of me, I don't like you. I DNF both of these. I DNF'd this one, but I read a lot of it. Does that count? I think it was my August wrap-up video. I said I read this. I did, because I read like a good 100 pages, and then I skipped to the end of the book. Because I didn't care about the fluff. And so this one follows the same. I didn't skip to the end like the other one, but something about it was off. I can't really describe it, if that makes any sense. Sometimes you know, but you don't know. So I like the premise, but I don't at the same time. Both of them kind of give the same. That's why I wanted to read it. I wanted to read it because it reminded me of Sleepless in Seattle. It was the same thing with First Time Caller, but I didn't like either one of those books as I was reading them. So. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This is the last book of hers that I've DNF'd because I only have 3 of hers. I DNF'd this book so long ago, so I cannot even tell you why I DNF'd it. I DNF'd this at the beginning of my reading career. Christina Lauren's writing is a hit or miss for me. I didn't like her writing, spoiler, in My Half Night Stand, but I liked her writing in Love in Other Words. So I think it was the writing that I didn't like, but I can't really give you a good reason because I don't know if I even got a good portion into this book to judge it. So we won't. We'll just say we DNF'd it and keep it pushing. A lot of these books I DNF like, and I don't remember why I did it. So that's why I'm doing this, because I feel as though they should be given a fair chance because I don't know why I did it. The Striker by Anna Huang. I know a lot of people DNF this book. I won't be getting The Defender. I don't even want to read this. But we added it because I DNF'd it. It was boring. What I read of it was boring. And then I skimmed through the rest of the 400 pages after I got to page 100, and I was like, does this get any interesting? Skim. No, it doesn't. It's over 500 pages of the following. It followed the same thing as Love Redesigned. I did not care about the characters. I did not care about the plot. I did not care about the hypotheticalness of witty banter, smuttiness. It's like, that keeps me going, but I didn't want it. It was boring. I was bored. Be interested. And this is one of 2 series where I've DNF'd the whole series. It's from last to first, but these 2 are prequels. The whole Maze Runner series. If you're ever wondering why there's 5 books, because the first 2 books are prequels. One of these books is about how the Glade was built, and the other book is, I don't know. I don't remember what Fever Code. Oh, one was the origin of the Maze Runner, and one was how the maze was built. Why was I drawing a blank? But these 3 books all follow the series, the trilogy, The Maze Runner, which is one of my favorite dystopian series. Well, I guess all of the dystopian series, other than the 100. I stopped watching in like season 4. I got confused because I took a break and came back, and I was like, what is happening? And I have to try to rewatch that, but then I was like, I don't care. So I like all dystopia, other than I didn't like these books. If you know, you know. They suffer from not Shatter Me. I'm talking about Divergent. Why did you do that in the last book? That was kind of crazy, and everybody got mad that the movie didn't follow the same ending as the books, and I was like, thank God they didn't, because we all saw it, right? And I was like, why would you rather that than what they gave us, which wasn't good, but I don't want that. But for if you're wondering, the first book is The Maze Runner, the second book is The Scorched Trials, and the third book is The Death Cure, which I like all of these books. I like the color of me. But I got through the first 100 pages. No, excuse me. I got to the chapter where Teresa comes, and I was like, ugh. Not because I don't like Teresa. I don't like her. But I was bored. I was like, this is going to be fun reading. And the only fun I've had reading a dystopia book series that I've also seen as a movie was The Hunger Games. And I was like, well, I didn't enjoy my time reading Divergent. Shatter Me hasn't become a movie/TV show series yet. I don't really want it to. But you know, they just might. And I won't be mad at it. But if it's like Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I will be mad. Just as long as it's not. I don't know if these are in order. I don't know if Fever Dream comes before Kill Order. I'm pretty sure Kill Order comes before Fever Dream, because why would the maze come before the origins of the Maze Runner? I think Fever Code is the last book that was written. Or maybe he wrote the books, like the prequels first, and then it's really, I don't know. But I DNF'd The Maze Runner, and then subsequently Is that the right word? DNF the rest of the series, because, like, I've seen the movies, but, like, you should never, like, just read the second book, even though I did with the Dirty Air series. Shut up. You should never, like, read the second book because you didn't, like, just skip the first. I didn't finish the first one. So why would I try to read the rest of the series? Because what if there's plot elements that are in the books but not in the movies? And I'm like, what is going on? If you know, you know. If you're the few people who DNF'd this series, and I've been getting FOMO because she released more books. I don't know if it's in the same series or if they're just connected because they follow the same character, excuse me, in this book. But the Inheritance Games, I was really hyped for reading. It was my #1 series on my DNF list for the longest time. On my TBR list for the longest time. And then I tried to read the first book. And I, once again, say it with me, didn't like it. And then I saw, I think her name was Kendall Watson. Oh, I remember. She's a booktuber. I saw her say that she didn't like the first one, and I was like, whew! Because I was like, maybe I was harsh on it, but then she was like, I didn't like the first Inheritance Game book, and I think she said she wasn't going to read the other two or the rest of the series. I think that's what she said. I don't remember which reading vlog it was in, but I do remember her saying it because I was so happy that someone else didn't like it, so I didn't feel shamed. Because I love The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I was like, this is horrible. What is this? And she wants to continue this and not that. She's continuing one series and not the other. Okay, Jennifer. But one day maybe I'll reread the first one and I'll like it. But that is all 20 plus, because I don't feel like counting it, 20 plus of the books that I have DNF'd. If you thought my reasoning was stupid, trust and believe, I don't think I have a good reasoning for not wanting to read any of these books. But if there are any of these books that you absolutely loved out of the 20 plus books that I've DNF'd and you are yelling at me on the other side of the screen, Kimora, read them, please let me know in the comments down below. But if you like the video, comment, share, subscribe. Do people say share anymore? I don't know. Did it light up when I said subscribe? I don't know if it does. I don't know if I have to do something for that. I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will attempt to do a reading vlog reading at least 3 of these books, because this is my TBR list.